right over there. And also Mr. Vivian Scully, he is the CEO of Agro-Invest. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you once again. So we are going to be focusing on how we strengthen partnership in the agricultural sector between the Dominican Republic and Jamaica, how we can boost investment and productive linkages, and also to subsequently look at our bilateral trade. We're going to look at the knowledge and resources that both countries can actually offer to each other. You know, one of the questions that I want to start off with, and I'm going to throw this question out to Mr. Vivian Scully, CEO of Agro-Invest Corporation. Mr. Scully, what are the main opportunities for collaboration in the agricultural sector between the Dominican Republic and Jamaica?
Okay, thank you. Primarily, Agro-Invest is in the business of promoting investment in the agriculture sector in Jamaica. And so, as we look at the Dominican Republic, we believe there are significant opportunities for growing agriculture in Jamaica by partnering with the Dominican Republic. The DR has been very kind to us. We're looking at orchard crops, and they've facilitated teams from Jamaica in knowledge exchanges. They've facilitated tours of their orchard crop development, which is pretty significant in the Dominican Republic. And so, from a learning perspective, we've benefited from partnerships with the Dominican Republic. On the investment side, we see opportunities where in serving the Jamaican market, there are opportunities for joint ventures between successful operators in agriculture and PR to look at setting up operations in Jamaica. We do have challenges in supplying our market with certain products, and some are being shipped from the DR, and there are logistical challenges. So having investments here to serve the market with joint ventures is one way we can enhance the partnership between both countries.
You spoke of the challenges. Can you delve into that for us a little bit more?
Okay, we are pretty close geographically, but in terms of shipping routes, those routes have to traverse Miami. There are also air challenges. You know, we have air Arajet, and I believe Copa may also travel between both markets, but the cost of shipping produce by air is significant, and so those are some of the challenges that can be looked at in overcoming.
Mr. Azan, I also want you to address the challenges that Jamaica may face when we look at a business with DOMREC.
Thank you. From our perspective, the biggest advantage we got from the Dominican Republic was the transfer of technical knowledge. They're very much more advanced than we are in. Just a word on our agricultural sector in Jamaica. It's still very rural, agrarian, small farm type. And when you look at the Dominican Republic, they have transformed that sector into, well, two basic sectors where you have large farms, which are highly technical in nature, and they have the small farms, which also feed into the municipal market system. We don't really have a large farm development plan, and that is what I think is very much lacking for us in Jamaica.
And with that, we're going to jump to Mr. Scully, looking at what Mr. Azan said in terms of our growth and development. What can the public what can we do to support and contribute to strengthening the agricultural sectors between both countries, knowing that they have established, large-scale farming communities while we are still looking at some micro farming communities here in Jamaica. What can we do from the public perspective?
Well, the good thing is that more and more the government is releasing large plots of agricultural land. So, as Mr. Azam rightly said, our mode of agriculture has been agrarian in the past, and if we look at our farming operations, 85% of our farmers have plots below 5 acres. And so we actually do need larger size farms in Jamaica. One step we're making towards that, the Agro-Investment Corporation, this year is releasing 2,000 acres of irrigated land to the market, and we're going to be looking for partners. So as we look to the expertise across the region, DR is a very obvious choice. Their population, I believe, is close to 10 million, and they already have several large farming operations which can be established here. They're already shipping several of our products to North America. If you look at Scotch bonnet peppers, you'll see in the US stores, Jamaican Scotch bonnet peppers, but grown in the Dominican Republic. Consumers sometimes are unwilling to comfortably purchase those products. So if those farms can be established here on a larger scale and supplying genuine Jamaican Scotch bonnet products, for example, this is one way we can enhance the agriculture sector for both countries.
Thank you so much, Mr. Valdez. I want to throw out the same question to you. Newport first, and I know that you are on the ground here in Jamaica. How can we then expand our production with the knowledge that we may gain from the non-rep and how they have grown here in Jamaica?
Well, let me first give you a little background of our company and how we were established here. First Sun is the largest fertilizer company in the region, and the company decided to invest in Jamaica almost 20 years ago when the situation here in Jamaica was not as it is today. The country was not as open as it is today, and it was really a big challenge for us to start growing or even starting to work in a market that was very closed. Today, the situation is different, and today, Dominican Republic and Jamaica, and I will have to say thanks to our Dominican ambassador, both countries are very close, and things are growing faster and moving faster. There are still a lot of work to do, particularly in terms of government intervention in Jamaica. Government is supposed to be a facilitator. Government is supposed to facilitate in all aspects that the private sector can grow. The government still intervene a lot in terms of the market, in terms of some policies that should be changed, should be updated in order for the country to benefit from advanced or modern inputs and other agricultural practices that we can implement here that are in the Dominican Republic. There is a lot still to do. We as a company established in Jamaica from the Dominican Republic, we believe that there are still a lot of growth. And one of the reasons we are here manufacturing, not only importing, but manufacturing, is because we believe in what we can do here and what the country can do.
So you spoke about the policies. If you had the opportunity right now to change one of those policies in terms of the government policy, what would that be?
I get very excited when I speak about this aspect. Originally, I used to be in the export section in my company. I went back, and I can say to you, a country doesn't grow enough if we don't export. It doesn't depend, you should not depend only on the local market. We are talking about Jamaica, Dominican Republic. But one of the main challenges we have here in Jamaica to be able to export is the excessive cost of putting a container from a factory to the port. I'm not talking about the haulage. I am speaking about the excessive cost involved in an operation to put a container and to ship a container. Something like, to give you an example, in the Dominican Republic, we pay around $300 for the clearance of a container to export, and here is about $1,000. With that difference, it is very difficult for the country to compete and to grow. So that is one of the aspects I think the government should consider in terms of changing policies or changing the structure to facilitate more exports to other countries.
Mr. Azan, would you like to make any comment on that in terms of the policies?
When we embarked on this agricultural project, it raised a lot of attention in the market. There were a lot of skeptics who said that I was buying land to build houses. I had to go to great extremes to convince people that I'm not in the housing business and that this was a project that I believed to be of national interest, because it was going to transform the way Jamaica looked at agriculture. And if you go to my farm and you look at it, I don't think there's anybody that can dispute that fact today. So having said all of that, there are so many policies that are restrictive in nature when it comes to looking at the way we do business and the way we conduct agro-business in Jamaica. So I wouldn't say there's any one in particular, but I can give you examples almost weekly of issues that come up. You're importing grow bags for the greenhouses. This is a coconut husk that everything grows in. And it takes 2.5 weeks to clear the containers from the port. Why? Because the Ministry of Agriculture feels they need to look at it, and they take 1 week and then they say, no, this is not something for us, this is for Jaguar. And then it goes to Jaguar and moves from desk to desk, and Jaguar then comes back and says, well, we don't know if we should issue a permit for this because we don't know, and blah, 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 blah. This is simple, modern day ways of doing business that, unfortunately, our civil service or public servants are not well up to speed on and need to get themselves up to speed on in order to get the productivity levels up. You can't sit and wait 2 weeks for a container to clear grow bags. It's supposed to come off and put it in the ground. And that's just one. I mean, I can give you a host of others. So there's no point in going through policy after policy. What they need to do is sit down and say, we now want to take this thing very seriously. Because taking 5 acres out in the country, where Mr. Scott, 85% of the farm products in this country are farmed in less than 5 acre plots. You're not 100 years in the past. This is a joke. The Dominican Republic, when I embarked on this project and I went to the Dominican Republic, the past president, who was the father of modern agriculture in that country, took me personally all around the island and showed me what he had done and the incentives, etc., that had brought it to the stage that it is now. So if you're not prepared to go into that level of investment in the future, then don't talk about it, because you'll never get there. This man had the passion to take me 3 days of his time all over and showed me how they got it done. You're a tourist. And today, the Dominican Republic, because of that, 20 years ago, today they are self-sufficient. They also supply all their hotel rooms with produce, and they export. Where are we today? The point is that if we don't make the decision now, they're not going to get anywhere, and we'll still be talking this way 5 and 10 years in the future.
Yes, you heard it. So, Mr. Scully, based on what we have learned this afternoon, and we continue to learn, what are some of the lessons that you think, as Jamaicans, we can learn from the DOMREP, and how can we push forward in terms of the Agro-Invest to move in that direction to see if we can take away some of the positives from the Dominican Republic?
Well, today in this forum we're learning a lot, and we've learned a lot over the last couple of years. We've had learning exchange between both countries. We're having more investment and trade facilitation events like these. We're having missions between both countries. And so with this interaction, I believe we're in a new era where agriculture is concerned. The ministry obviously is aware of many of these challenges outlined by my colleagues here. And so we are working assiduously to change some of these. It hasn't been an easy battle, but I think we're learning every day, and we're putting in new, not just policies, but processes. You can see from the modernization of customs, the joint business facilitation hub that has been created between JAMPRO and MIC to smooth out some of these application processes and speed up processes between the different agencies. So it's a work in progress, and I believe we're committed to it. The Agro-Invest is focused on driving large-scale agriculture, and so we're reaching out to investors locally, regionally, internationally, to bring expertise here to set up operations on larger farms. Later this year, we're hosting the first agri-investment forum that has ever been held in Jamaica, and it's going to be held towards the latter part of this year, where we're inviting investors across the cross-section of Jamaica, regionally and internationally, to look at the opportunities there and see how we can scale up production for local consumption, which is growing through the tourism sector. Like our tourism sector is growing at a rapid clip, and our agro-processing business is also growing, outpacing the production levels that we have through our sauces and spices and juices, etc. So there's tremendous opportunities to be tapped here in Jamaica, and we're looking at exploring all of this and inviting participation from the DR and the rest of the region as well.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for participating. So this afternoon we heard from Mr. Ghassan Azan, and he's the chairman, CEO, Post Club, Bash Club, and Megamart. Mr. Dennis Valdez, Director General of Newport Forzan, Jamaica, and of course Mr. Vivian Smolly, CEO of Agro-Invest Corporation. Gentlemen, thank you so much, and have yourselves a wonderful afternoon.